slope-intercept form from 2 points. Okay, so we have the following equation here, and what they give us is they give us just 2 points. So what we have to do is you have to write this as y is equal to mx plus b. So you got to find what is the m and what is the b. So the m is going to become a number and the b is going to become a number. Now for us to find the m, what we do is we say this is x1, y1, x2, y2. So I'm going to use the formula y2 minus y1 over x2 minus x1. So that should be y2 minus y1. So from this, the y2 is 8. Y minus y1, which is a negative 6. And then let's see, the x2 is 8, subtract 6. So the double negatives becomes 8 plus 6. 8 minus 6 is 2. From here we get 14 over 2. So from here we get 7. So now we know that m is equal to 7. So let's rewrite the formula knowing what we know. So we can say y is equal to, replace the m with not a 2, but with a 7. So I'm going to put a 7 in right here. Put down the number x plus b. We still haven't figured out what b is. So now what I'm going to do is I'm going to use the first point. So the first point was 6, negative 6. So this is your x and this is your y. So the y itself is going to become negative 6. We're going to say 7 times 6 plus b. So from here we're going to get negative 6 is equal to 42 plus b. So now we're going to solve this. So we're back to equations. So we're going to box our numbers, circle our letters. So we're going to subtract by 42. So when we do so, we get negative 48. The 42s will disappear, and that's what b is equal to. So now I can rewrite the problem. I already know that the m is 7, so it's 7x. But this time the b is going to be replaced with a negative 48. So that should be my answer there. So y is equal to 7x minus 48. So 7x minus 48. Okay, next question. I want to use the formula y is equal to mx plus b. That's the formula I want to use. So what I want to do is see what I'm given. See, I'm given 2 points. This is x1. This is y1. This is x2. And this is y2. So what I want to do first is find what m is. So I got to use the slope formula. So I got to take y2 minus y1, and then we got to go x2 minus x1. So we're going to say negative 10 minus 8 on top. And as for the x's, x2 is 1, subtract negative 8. So now on top I got negative 10 minus 8. Well, that's a negative 18. The double negatives on the bottom turns to a plus sign. So I'll go negative 18 over 9, and that becomes a negative 2. So we know that m is equal to a negative 2. So now I can go back, use my formula, y is equal to mx plus b, and I know the m is now negative 2x. It's the b I do not know. So the b, this b is our mystery. So I'm going to use the first point, call it negative 8, 8. This is my x, and this is my y. So now what I'm going to do is replace this y now with an 8. The negative 2 is there. The x is going to also become a, actually the y is a positive 8. The x will become a negative 8 plus b. I'm going to do my multiplication. It gives me a positive 16. Then I get a plus b. So now I want to box my numbers. Now I want to circle my letters. So now I want to get the circle by itself. So I subtract by 16. I have a negative 8. These will cancel out, and this gives me b. So b is equal to a negative 8. So now to rewrite the form, I know y is equal to, replace the m with the negative 2, because see, we know that m is a negative 2x. We know that b is a negative 8. So this should be my answer right there. So my answer should be y is equal to a negative 2x minus 8. Now the y is already in place, so the only thing we have to type in would be the negative 2x minus 8. Okay, next question. Again, we got a points here. So this is the formula we want to use. Y is equal to mx plus b. So we want to figure out what the m is, and we want to figure out what the b is. So we're going to say x1, y1, x2, y2. So I'm going to find a slope first. So I'm going to take my second y, subtract my first y. Take my second x, subtract my first x. Okay, so what is my second y? My second y is a negative 3. Now I'm going to write down my subtraction sign, and that's going to be the y1, which is 5. So it's negative 3 minus 5. As for the x's, this is a negative 3 minus a negative 6. Well, negative 3 minus 5 is a negative 8. We have a double negative on the bottom, so that's a negative 3 plus 6. So on top, we have a negative 8. On the bottom here, we're going to have a positive 3. So m is equal to a negative 8 over 3. So now what we want to do is we want to go ahead and write this in. We're going to use y is equal to, we're going to drop the m. We're going to say negative 8 over 3 x plus b. Now, normally I got the denominator of 3, so normally I would use the first point, the negative 6, 5, but you can actually use the second point. And I would actually go with the second point. And here's my reasoning for that, is that you got a 3 here. So by multiplying by 3, that's going to help eliminate this fraction. You know, maybe the negative 6, 5 can eliminate the fraction, which I think it will. It could do that too. But I think using the 3 against the 3 would just make more sense and make our work a whole lot easier. So I'm going to replace this y with the negative 3. I'm going to say negative 8 thirds times a negative 3, and we can call it the negative 3 over 1 if we want, plus b. So now I'm going to get negative 3 is equal to, and let me go ahead and write this over to the left. So to write this over to the left now, we're going to have the following here. We're going to have, let's see, negative 3. Negative 8 times negative 3 is positive 24 over 3 plus b. So what we get is a negative 3 is equal to 8 plus b. So that's what we have to solve. So let's code the problem. Let's box our numbers. And let's circle our letters. So you know we have to subtract by 8. So when you do so, you get a negative 11, crosses out, and that's b. So there's my b, and there's my m. So when I write this out, I'll say y is equal to a negative 8/3 x, that's my m, minus b, which is 11. And this should be my answer. So right here, oops, let me get rid of this. No, I won't get rid of it yet. Or let me erase that little dot. Okay, so I'm going to go with negative 8/3. So this is a negative 8/3 x. And then we're going to say minus 11. So I got a negative 8/3 x minus 11. Let's check that. Okay, next question. Again, we want to find what m is and what b is. The formula that you want to use is y is equal to mx plus b. So x1, y1, x2, y2. So the formula we're going to say is m is equal to the second y minus the first y, the second x minus the first x. So from right here, we're going to say negative 4 subtract negative 8. And I tell you what, let me rewrite this as all going slanted. Slanted is not going to work. So let's write this straight. So let me see if I can make this straight here. Let me turn this board around. Okay, so we're going to say our second y subtract our first y, then our second x subtract our first x. So our second y is negative 4 subtract negative 8. Then we're going to go 6 subtract 3. Well, we got double negatives here, so this is negative plus 8. So negative 4 plus 8, this is simply 3. So what we get next is, let's see, negative 4 plus 8. Well, that's going to be a positive 4 over 3. So that is what m is. So m is 4/3. So we're going to say y now is equal to 4/3 x plus b. Now again, looking at the points there, I have the 3 for the x, and see the 3 matches it. So I think I would go with the first point there, because that could help us, to get rid of this fraction. So I'd call the 3x and of course the y negative 8. So I'd say negative 8, 4/3, and then I'm going to say 3, and I'm going to write 3 over 1 plus b. Here I'm going to have negative 8. This is 12 over 3 plus b. So this is negative 8 is equal to 4 plus b. So now I have negative 8 is equal to 4 plus b, so I'm going to box my numbers. I want to circle my letters. So right here I'm going to subtract by 4. So what I end up with is a negative 12 is equal to b. So now let's rewrite it again. Y is equal to, we'll drop the m and say 4/3, put the x after it, and we're going to drop the b and write down a minus 12. So that should be my answer for that. So my m is going to be 4/3. So I'm going to put down a 4, and it's a positive, so I can use my fraction. 3 space bar, then x, and then I would say minus sign 12. So let's check this.